Hello everybody, welcome to today's class. So today I'm going to help you guys understand and practice conditionals, everybody's favorite. Okay, so anytime I start a new class or I have a new student, I would ask them, what do you find most difficult? And a lot of people say to me, conditionals. 0, first, second, third. Okay, so today we are going to practice it, and by the end of this PowerPoint and by the end of this class, I'm sure it will be easy for you to understand. Okay, so we're going to learn conditionals today. So what are conditionals? Conditionals are also known as if sentences. Okay, so we're talking about if I do this, this is the result. Okay, if I have this, this will happen, etc. Okay, so we use conditionals to describe the result of something that might happen in the past, in the present, or in the future. For example, if I heat water to 100 degrees, it boils. This is a condition. This is a zero condition. Also, if I add 2 and 2, I get 4. This is also a zero condition. Okay, so we're talking about the result of something. We use if. Okay, there are 4 conditionals. We have 0, first, second, and third. Now, what I like to try and remember when teaching conditionals is that conditionals get more unrealistic as you move down. Okay, so the 0 conditional is always true. First conditional will probably happen in the present or the future. Second conditional is an imaginary situation in the present or future. So the third conditional is an imaginary situation in the past. Okay, so it's getting further back and it's getting more unrealistic. We're going to begin with the 0 condition. 0 condition is probably the most straightforward. You know, it's the easiest to understand. The 0 conditional is used to talk about something that is always true. Okay? We're talking about the general fact, okay? Not a specific situation. Now, this is very important because this is the difference. This is one of the differences between the 0 conditional and the first. The 0 conditional, things that are always true, and we talk about the general fact. It's not a specific situation that happened to me yesterday. It's just always the general idea. If present tense, present tense. If present tense, present tense. That is the 0 conditional. For example, if I don't eat, I die. This is true. Okay, and I'm not talking about a specific time. I'm just talking about all the time. It's general. If I don't eat, I die. If you put ice in the sun, it melts. Always. See here I have, if you put present tense, it melts. Present tense. If I get a headache, I take medicine. Okay, this is something that I would always do if I get a headache. I'm not talking about a specific headache. I'm just talking about all the time. If I feel a headache, I take medicine. Yeah. Or if it rains, tennis practice is held in the gym. Okay, so this is something that will always happen. Nobody plays tennis in the rain. Okay, so if it rains, tennis practice is held in the gym. Again, we're not talking about a specific training session. We're just talking about what happens all the time. So this is a 0 condition. Things that are always true. If plus the present tense, present tense. So here I have some clauses or some sentences that I would like you to complete. So if you want to pause the video, take your time, answer these sentences, finish these sentences. For example, the first one, if I am lost. So what is something that you will always do if you are lost? If I am lost, I ask for directions. Yeah, if present tense, present. If I am lost, I use Google Maps. Yeah. If I am lost, I call my friend. Okay, we'll come back and we'll get some examples. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video, you practice either speaking some examples to yourself or to a partner or to a housemate who's with you, or you wrote them down on a page. Here are some examples you could have said. If I am lost, I use Google Maps. If I miss an exam, I fail. If I fall asleep in the sun, I get burned. If I wake up late, I don't have breakfast. If I wake up early, I have a big breakfast. Okay, so this is something that I will do all the time, not a general time or not a specific time, but just a general. If I wake up early, I have a big breakfast. If I touch the fire, I scream. This is something that would always happen. If a baby is hungry, he cries. If I cook, I burn the food. Okay, so there's 0 conditionals. If, present tense, present tense. General ideas. Okay, so if you have a friend or a housemate who's with you, who's interested in learning English and wants to learn about conditionals, tell them to come into the class and practice this. So student A, student B, pause the video, you choose one side, ask your partner the questions, get them to respond in a 0 conditional. Okay, and if it's just you, you can pause the video, choose one side, and answer the questions yourself in 0 condition. For example, the first one in student A. What do you do if you get a headache? If I get a headache, I take medicine. Okay, so that was the 0 condition. Now we're going to move on to the first condition. Okay, so the first condition. We use the first conditional to talk about things that will probably happen in the present or the future. There's a very, very good possibility that these things will happen in the future. But, of course, we cannot predict the future. We don't know 100% what will happen. But these things, there's a good possibility. Okay, so how do I write it? If plus the present tense plus the future tense. Okay, and here I have if plus the present tense plus the future tense plus infinitive, but it's always going to be the infinitive because future tense will be either will or be going to. Okay, will is a modal verb, so after modal verbs will be an infinitive, and be going to after the preposition to is infinitive as well. So it's always going to be infinitive. So if plus present tense plus future tense. Very important. If must always, 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 always be next to the present. Okay, which means I can put if and the present tense are stuck together. Okay, I can put them at the beginning or I can put them at the end, but they must be next to each other. For example, if it rains, I won't go to the park. Okay, I look up at the sky, I see dark clouds, and I think, if it rains, I won't go to the park. Okay, there's a good possibility that it rains. Now I can also move it to the end. I can say, I won't go to the park if it rains. Fine. If I have enough money, I will buy new shoes. Or, I will buy new shoes if I have enough money. So again, if and the present tense are stuck together and the future tense, the other part. So again, a couple of clauses here for you to practice. So again, pause the video, either practice your speaking, write it down is very helpful to help you remember, and just finish these sentences. For example, if I go out tonight, I will drink a few beers. I will see my friends. Okay, so hopefully you come up with some interesting examples. Here's a few. If I go out tonight, I will drink some beer. If I don't see you tomorrow, I will call you. If he comes to the party, I will give him the money I owe him. Okay. If we go on holiday this summer, I will go somewhere where the sun is shining. If we eat all of this cake, we will feel sick. Okay, so these are things that will probably happen. Like if I eat all of the cake, will I feel sick 100%? Is it a 100% fact? No. There's a possibility that I won't feel sick. But if you eat all of the cake, there's a very good possibility that you will feel. And if I don't go to bed early, I will sleep in and miss my English class. Sleep in is a phrasal verb. It means to sleep and not hear your alarm and sleep for too long. Okay. If you sleep in, you sleep for too long. Okay, so that is the first condition. Things that will probably happen if plus present tense plus future tense. And a useful bit of information for the first conditional is that we can use future time clauses. Okay? So when we're talking about the first conditional, we can replace the word if with many other future time clauses. Okay? So you don't need to use if all the time. If, no. But remember, if you change the word if with, for example, when is an example of a future time clause. If I change that word, it's still the same idea. It's still stuck together with the present tense. Same rule. I can put it at the beginning or the end, but they're still together. So what are some future time clauses? For example, as soon as, when, until, unless, before, after, and in case. Okay, so these are some examples of future time clauses. For example, as soon as I get paid, I will buy that jacket. Yeah. Future time clause with the present tense stuck together, future tense. As soon as I get paid, I will buy that jacket. Okay, so again, pause the video, practice yourself with some future time clauses. You replace the word if, the future time clause, and it stays together. Okay, nice. So here's a couple of examples for yourself. Again, as soon as I get paid, I will buy that jacket. Or when I see him, I will tell him you called. Okay, so think of that scenario. You're at home, somebody comes to the door, asks you if your roommate is here. You say, oh no, he's not here, sorry. But when I see him, I will tell him you called. Or even think about, oh, that's a really nice jacket. Okay. As soon as I get paid, I will buy that jacket. Okay. These are first conditions. Very, very common. Things that will probably happen in the future. Okay. So really quickly, let's look at the difference. So in the zero and the first. Zero conditional. If you sit in the sun, you get burned. Yeah. Here, we're talking about every time you sit in the sun. And we're talking about the natural result, the general time, nothing specific. First conditional, if you sit in the sun, you will get burned. Okay, this is fine. Here, we're talking about a specific situation. This specific time on Monday afternoon, my friend is sitting in the sun. I say, oh, if you sit in the sun, you will get burned. This specific time. But in general, if you sit in the sun, you get burned. There's a very important difference. Okay, so that ends part 1 of the zero and the first condition. Quick recap. If plus the present tense is the zero conditional, things that always happen. Okay. If I don't eat, I die. First condition, if plus present tense plus future tense. Things that will probably happen in the future. Yeah. And we're talking about specific situations. When I get paid, I will buy that jacket. If I go out tonight, I will see my friend. Okay, guys, so that ends part 1 of the zero and the first conditional. Join me for part 2. We'll be looking at the unreal conditionals, the second and the third. Oakley dokley.